Do you struggle to manage your Amazon advertising spend effectively? In this video, we discuss 5 major advertising challenges Amazon sellers face, and we provide actionable tips to address each of them. Discover why using every ad type might not be the best strategy, and learn how to navigate increasing CPC and competitive bidding.
Hello, Andreas. Welcome to the Orange Click YouTube channel. I'm really excited to have you here today with me because you're going to share 5 really important Amazon PPC tips for Amazon sellers to help them to stay ahead of Amazon advertising in 2024, but also beyond that. So I'm excited to hear what you have for us. But before we go into the tips, could you first introduce yourself, what's your background in Amazon space, and also give us an overview of what Biddix does and how do you help Amazon sellers?
Yeah, of course. So first of all, hi Lisette. Thanks for having me. Looking forward to present our top 5 tips in terms of what you can do differently to be ahead of the competition in 2024. My name is Andreas. I'm the head of product at Biddix. So I'm responsible for all the new feature developments, for defining the roadmap. Our focus for this and the next upcoming years is definitely to have a little bit more organic driven approach of optimizing ads in Amazon, because it will get more and more important, as well as all the programmatic parts of Amazon advertising, like the Amazon DSP and Amazon Marketing Cloud, which kind of brings everything together in terms of reporting when it comes to sponsored ads and Amazon DSP. But our core functionality still is the platform where we help sellers to optimize the ads to reach the target ACoS that I set.
Okay, very good. And we briefly discussed before starting recording this video that Biddix has been super busy with supporting your clients, as well as attending different events and organizing your own events. So for sure, you know all of ins and outs of Amazon advertising, and you're on top of everything. So let's go ahead. Let's see what tips do you have for us today to help our community to succeed with advertising, and share your screen.
Awesome. So let's do that. I've brought the top 5 tips with me today to stay ahead of PPC in 2024. And what I tried with the slides is specifically talk about what is a little bit different from our point of view in 2024 and going forward compared to the months and years before that. So I don't want to tell you the obvious stuff. I've tried to focus on what changed in the Amazon advertising space and how sellers can react to stay ahead based on that. I already introduced myself. This is me again, but let's dive deeper into the topic with tip number 1. Maybe a couple of words regarding the structure of those tips. I will start with the issue for every tip. So where is the solution or the tip coming from? Then I want to show one or more reasons for that, for the issue, or why the issue developed over time. And then I will give you guys a couple of tips and solutions to fix that issue. So let's start with the first one. And like I said, let's start with the issue that we have detected, or that clients reached out to us regarding this issue and try to get our tips regarding that. So first tip is, or the first issue is, that a good keyword research alone is not enough anymore to outpace competition. So a couple of years ago, the first tip was always do your proper keyword research, and then you will outpace the competition by nature, kind of, because you are investing time to get the right keywords at the right time for your product, and then everything will be good. And then you cannot kind of do anything wrong with the bids because you have the high quality keywords. And this changed a little bit over time. And the reasons for that, you can see here. One of the bigger reasons for that is that Amazon is automating more and more placements. You can see a screenshot right here from the ads console when sellers try to create a sponsored brand campaign. This is pretty new. There is a slider that you can allow Amazon to automatically optimize bids and blah, blah, blah. This means that you do not have any chance to enter any keywords or any bids. So everything is automated, which will lead to the fact that you cannot outpace the competition anymore by making a very good keyword research, because with this automation process by Amazon, more and more sellers do not have to search for keywords anymore, and Amazon will just provide the search terms and will connect the campaigns to the search terms, and then the products will be shown even if the sellers are not investing any time into the keyword research. Kind of comparable to the auto campaigns, where at least you can have those like 4 different categories and you can set the bids. This is not necessary anymore with the automated bidding for sponsored brand campaigns. So more and more automating is coming into place, which is sometimes a good thing, but sometimes also a challenge for motivated sellers, because you cannot like differentiate with a very good keyword set anymore. And secondly, Amazon is not only automating the placements more and more, but also the targets. We have talked about that. So if you look into the auto campaigns, of course, auto campaigns have been there forever. And Amazon is doing that since the beginning, kind of. But this also leads to the fact that you lose a little bit more of control, and you cannot differentiate from competitors when you have a very proper keyword research, because of course also auto campaigns are getting better and better, and the link from the search term to the product done by Amazon or done by the Amazon algorithm is improving as well. And then we also have the broad match modifier, and this is a very interesting investigation that we have done over the couple of last months. If you're using the broad match modifier, that means that if you write that plus in front of each keyword, that kind of makes sure that a keyword will not be changed when linking to a search term of the client, is seen in more and more search term reports. So what you see here is a screenshot from an ads console where you see that the keyword, in this case card case TCG, is linked to a search term that is Gamegenic Stronghold 200 XL. So no connection between keyword and search term anymore, which again leads to the fact that Amazon is showing the product independently from the keyword research, independently from which keywords are set up in the campaign, more and more, not only by automating the placements, but also by automating the targets, not only in the auto campaigns, but also in the broad campaigns, in sponsored brands in general, and stuff like that. And this is a development that we see more and more coming in the next months. A solution for that, it kind of differs from the tips and from the best practices that we've seen like 2 years ago. I think that smaller keyword sets make more and more sense right now already, and more in the future as well. So if you like really focus on the very small amount but very relevant keywords in the campaigns, so we always say maybe 10 to 20, you make sure that you have most of the control of where your ad is shown, but also more control over the ad spend with the specific bits that you are using for those small sets of keywords. And of course, also very important, has always been important and will be important in the future as well, is to set negative keywords. As you have seen, if you're using the broad match modifier, or if you're not using the broad match modifier in the sponsored brand campaigns, Amazon can show the product kind of everywhere, can link the campaign to all the search terms. So it is even more important to use the negative keywords to make sure that at least the product is not shown for search terms that have nothing to do with the product, or, for example, are totally wrong, and you don't want your product to be shown for those search terms. So in this case, it's mandatory to have the negative keywords right to make sure that you're not wasting any money on those positions. Last but not least, a tip that we gave a lot in the last couple of months is to use specific and focused campaigns with the right match times. You can see a campaign structure right here visualized. We have the generic keywords or the generic campaign structure in the top level. And then, for example, we have a main keyword campaign with the most relevant keywords, or the keywords with the highest search volume. And then it makes sense to have a specific campaign only for that, with only a few very relevant keywords, only exact keywords, to make sure that you're only shown for those keywords or those search terms exactly, and do not waste any more money when putting the main keywords into a broad campaign, for example. Then the impressions will increase a lot, but you will also waste a lot of ad spend in that case. So it makes sense to create those specific and focused campaigns for the strategy that you want to follow. Let's come to tip number 2, the issue first again, the PAT campaigns. So the campaigns where you are targeting ASINs are also shown in the search engine result page, which leads to less control. So we kind of want to make sure that we're using the ASIN campaigns for the product detail pages only and using the keyword campaigns for the search engine result page. And the reasons that is not the case, it's just Amazon algorithm. You can have the placement report. So if you click into the campaign, you can click into the placements then, and then you see how many impressions, how many costs, and how many sales are generated in the 3 placement categories: top of search, rest of search, and product pages. And when creating an ASIN targeting campaign or a PAT campaign, the product will also be shown on the top of search and rest of search, which will make it a little bit more complicated to optimize bids, because you also have the keyword campaign that jump into the same slots. So if you decrease a bid, it could be that the PAT campaign jumps into exactly that place, and you will not see an optimization in that case. So for that, we have a solution. The goal for that is to be shown on the search engine result page with the keyword campaigns and on the product detail page with the ASIN campaigns. And there is a kind of a trick to do that by decreasing the bid for the ASIN campaigns. For example, if you had €1, you can decrease it to 20 cents and then apply a bidding modifier for the product detail page with 400%. This will still lead to the fact that you will bid €1 for the product detail page, but only 20 cents for the search engine result page. And this will make sure that you will not generate a lot of impressions for the search, but you will still show up for the product detail page with your maximum bid of €1. And this will give you a differentiation of the ASIN campaigns compared to the keyword campaigns, and this will allow you to use both, but still have the control of when you want to be shown on the product detail page and when you want to be shown on the search engine result page. Tip number 3, starting with the issue again, impressions are only generated with steadily increasing CPCs. This is something that you might have observed as well in the last, let's say, 2-3 years maybe already. Reasons for that are kind of obvious. There is more competition on the market for each search term. Might just come from the fact that we have more sellers on the platform selling kind of the same products, or at least products in the same category. But it will also come from the fact that Amazon is automating more and more positions and targets, as we've shown in tip number 1 as an issue, or as a reason at least for that. And this will lead to more competitions. And as well, sellers are using more keywords compared to a couple of years where you had the chance to differentiate by using long-tail keywords and stuff like that. And this is not the differentiation anymore because of this automation process by Amazon, because of more competition. So there are other ways to try to differentiate from competition. And one of those ways is the auto low bid campaign. And we are more and more leveraging that because of the first 2 issues that we stated. It makes sense to have the auto low bid campaign back in place. What does auto low bid campaign mean? That means that you create an auto campaign with very low bids. So in that case, you can see that all the bids are set to 5 cents, which in most of the case is too low to get any impressions within keyword campaigns or ASIN campaigns. But for auto campaigns, and this has also something to do with the Amazon algorithm, which will allow the algorithm to easily show the product in placements on pages that are a lot more in page 3, 4, 5 and stuff like that, and some hidden placements. And this will lead to the fact that you will still generate impressions with very, very low CPCs. Doesn't mean that this will be enough to have just auto low bid campaigns for advertising your products, but it makes sense to try this auto low bid campaign as an addition to the campaign structure to just generate some impressions that are very, very cheap, but still will generate not only impressions, but also revenue for low price. Tip number 4 a complete campaign structure is causing too much ad spend. And this is because Amazon is releasing and launching more and more ad formats, starting with, for example, sponsored brand video, then sponsored display video, now store sponsored brand video and stuff like that. And if you are looking into best practices, or if you're watching YouTube videos or stuff like that, you might have seen kind of a best practice campaign structure where sellers are utilizing all the ad types that Amazon is offering, from sponsored product ads with all match types and sponsored brand video, sponsored display video. And this could lead to a campaign structure with up to 20 campaigns. And sometimes sellers think that this is the best practice, so I have to follow that. And when creating 20 campaigns for a product that is launching right now can be very expensive. So the thing is that it doesn't always make sense to have all of the ad types for one product at all times for all strategies. That just doesn't make sense, because too much cost will be generated, too much ad spend will be generated. So it makes sense to have a very specific, again, and focused campaign structure and use the right ad types at the right time for the right strategy. So just as an example, we are looking into, in this example, a launch strategy campaign structure where sponsored products campaigns are used. In this case, an auto campaign, an async campaign, and a broad campaign. You see no exact campaign and stuff like that, because maybe in the launch phase of the product, you just want to generate impressions. You just want to make sure that a lot of people will see the product and interact with the product, have clicks and a high click-through rate and stuff like that. So it might make sense to only leverage the ad types and the match types that make sure that impressions are generated. And then on top of that, to again show the product, sponsor brand might make sense, again, based on competitor ASINs, and broad keywords might also make sense to, again, generate a lot of impressions. And then for sponsored display, retargeting might not make sense in the beginning, because not a lot of potential buyers have clicked on the product yet. So maybe a lifestyle audience might make sense to start with sponsored display in this phase. And when we are jumping from launch to a product lifecycle status that is beyond, so for example, the efficiency phase or stuff like that, the campaign structure might and maybe should change completely. More focus on exact keywords, more focus on video, more focus on retargeting and stuff like that. So the message is, don't use all the ad types provided by Amazon at all times. Just try to think what might make sense the most, and then create the campaign structure based on what is the most useful within this strategy phase of the product. Last but not least, tip number 5, bidding more than necessary. We've seen that a lot in the past. And the reasons for that is that paid and organic positions are not tracked from sellers most of the time. So sellers do not have a picture of where they are shown organically and even paid when using a keyword with a specific bid. If you have an eye on that, it totally makes sense to keep track of that, and then adjusting the bids based on your paid and organic positions, rather than just doing a bid optimization based on the performance data alone. So this is something we've seen a lot, and this is something that might be the most important thing to consider in the future, to then adjust bids based on the positions and not on the performance data alone. Share of voice is not considered. So this is something we also see a lot for the most relevant keywords, maybe for the main keywords, to see how many impressions compared to competition the product is generating for a set of keywords, to make sure that you're using the right bids for the right keywords and be visible for the right keywords for the right price. This is something that also should be considered. And last but not least, the bestseller rank is also very valuable if you want to track not only the product's performance standalone, but also consider and take into account how the market situation look like. Because if there is low demand, revenue can decline, impressions can decrease, for example. But if the bestseller rank is stable, this just means that the competition is not doing better, and there might just be low demand. And in that case, it might not make sense to increase or decrease the bids. You have to just sit out and wait for the demand coming back. And if you increase the bids, for example, to try to aggressively jump on that and generate more impressions, you will not generate more revenue in the first moment, but more ad spend in most of the time. So the bestseller rank should also be considered when adjusting the bids to see if the demand changed as well. Couple of solutions to do so. Like I already mentioned before, it doesn't really make sense to just optimize bids based on the raw performance data. So most of the time, if you're looking to the ads console and see the ACoS is bad and just looking into that and then adjusting the bids based on that might not be enough if you are not considering organic paid positions and bestseller rank as well. So it might make sense to increase bids when a drop in ranks is detected, for example, because then it's not only demand-based, but it could be that a competitor is being very aggressive, and then it might make sense to increase the bids as well to make sure that you stay visible with the product. But don't necessarily increase bids when impressions and revenue is temporarily dropping, because that might just mean that the demand is temporarily low, but if the ranks are stable, that means that you are still performing as before compared to your competitors. And this is something we are telling sellers a lot, trying to focus on organic positions, paid positions, and bestseller rank as well to get the big picture and optimize the bids based on all those things. That's basically it for the 5 tips. I just want to use the next 2 or 3 minutes to show some solutions for those issue and tips that we are providing at Bidex with our platform. So first of all, this is kind of our core functionality. We are offering the possibility to create rules and automations where sellers have the chance to define their own requirements and own actions. So if they are detecting something like decreasing click-through rates or decreasing conversion rates or decreasing revenue and stuff like that, bids can be increased or decreased based on that. We are also offering an automation, hands-off, where sellers can just enter a target ACoS, and then our automation is taking care of all the KPIs in the background and adjusting bids on a daily basis to reach the target ACoS. Then we have keyword management. This is very helpful when it comes to those campaign structure topics that we have talked before in one of those tips. If you set up the right campaign structure, it might make sense to detect very good or very bad performing search terms and then create exact keywords based on that. And this is something that we are offering with a tool. You can define your own focuses, your own strategies, and then define keyword management settings when a keyword has to be created or should be created based on the performance data in a specific campaign. Again, something regarding the campaign structure. We have the campaign creator where it's very straightforward, where you have a very straightforward opportunity to create a campaign structure. You can select the ad types and the match types that you want to create. So we've talked about a launching campaign structure before. You can select sponsored product, sponsored brand, sponsored display, but only the auto PAT broad campaigns, and for sponsored display only lifestyle. And click through the campaign creator, and within 3 or 4 minutes, you have created the whole campaign structure based on the strategy that you want to follow. And last but not least, I've also talked a lot about considering organic data like bestseller rank, like organic and paid position. For that, we also have a feature that we call scheduling, where sellers can define a threshold of a bestseller rank, a threshold of organic and paid positions for a specific keyword rank, and then campaigns can be paused, activated, or boosted, for example, minus 50% or plus 20% based on those bestseller rank and position values. With that, you don't have to keep track of that manually. You just set your thresholds of visibility that you want to keep, and then the platform will increase or decrease the bids and or budgets based on those settings.
Very good. Thank you so much, Andreas, for sharing the challenges and also sharing some tips and introducing Biddix to us as well. I do have some questions for you before I go to those. Can you, I don't know if you highlighted, but for which markets the Biddix solution works with? Is it US market, any of the European markets?
Yeah. In terms of markets, we do offer a lot. We have North America with US, Canada, Mexico. We have Europe, but we also have Far East. We have Australia, Japan, India. So we nearly have all of the marketplaces available within the tool.
Okay, very good to hear. Yeah, so sellers watching us know when they could possibly use your solution for their business.
Yeah.
So I really like the fact that you highlighted how important it is to have like a personalized approach for the Amazon advertising. And actually, to be honest, I think this year when talking with different experts and recording these videos, this is something that has been popping up more than I have heard in the previous years. So what do you think is the main reason? Because of all of those new ad types and targeting types, and just like, the opportunity to burn money is huge, right? It's quite easy to burn a lot of your budget. So what do you think? Is that the reason why we hear more to don't just blindly, take a strategy from a YouTube video, but try to understand what your own goals and what you have to do?
Exactly. It changed completely over the last, let's say, maybe 4 years. In 2020, 2021, we were talking a lot about how to get more impressions with sellers, how to get more placements, how to show the product more and more. And then, especially after COVID, in 2022 and 2023 especially, the discussions changed a lot from that point, where we are now talking more and more about wasted ad spend. So the wasted ad spend is a topic in more and more calls where sellers are asking, how can we prevent ourselves from spending money into search terms that are not converting, which wasn't a topic back then, but is more and more a topic right now. And this is where the individual approach is coming from. So right now we are talking a lot to clients and saying, you have to have this individual approach. You have to make sure that you're using the right ad types with the right match types, with the right keyword at the right time for the right strategy. And then it totally makes sense. And then you can also scale up. It's not that it's not possible anymore. It's just that the approach changed a little bit. And this is because the competition increased and Amazon is automating more and more, which leads to the fact that every seller is kind of everywhere right now with the ads.
Okay, yeah, I like the point of Amazon automating more as well. We shouldn't forget that. Besides just like the competition increasing like overall. So
exactly.
Out of all of those kind of recent, more or less recent Amazon advertising updates, what is kind of your favorite one, or what do you think which feature or targeting type or ad type is useful for sellers, and you see sellers benefiting more from it in the near future?
Yeah, I'm still a very huge fan of sponsored brand video, to be totally honest, because all the ads kind of look the same. It's just the ASIN and then the price and then like the reviews and stuff like that. But sponsored brand video can give you the edge over competition because sellers have the chance to show the product in lifestyle action with the first view of a client. And it's very attention grabbing. So if a client is searching something and scrolling through the search engine result page, the video pops out every time. And you do not have to show the product on a white background. You can show anything within the first caption. This is why it's so valuable, or can be so valuable. And a lot of times sellers are too hesitant with that by saying, oh, I don't have a video ready yet and stuff like that. And I always say it doesn't really care to start because the position, the placement is so valuable. If you get it, you sometimes get it with a lower CPC than a sponsored product ad placement. So this is something I cannot say enough. Please use sponsored brand video.
Okay, we're gonna write it down to the description.
Yeah,
or if you are watching the video, let us know if you're already using and if it brings good results, so we can encourage more sellers opting in for that advertising type.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you briefly mentioned during the interview, and we discussed a little bit before about Amazon Marketing Cloud and DSP, and also now we know that you should advertise based on your own goals. So can you give us an overview of like what's most important things Amazon sellers should know about both of these things, and when and how they could benefit from using those things?
Yeah. So the Amazon DSP is the display network of Amazon, and it will allow sellers to show display ads not only on Amazon, but off Amazon as well. A little bit like sponsored display ads, but in a more controllable, more scalable way. The biggest issue with the Amazon DSP, or let us start with when to use or when to start thinking about using the DSP. I would say it makes the most sense if you kind of have a very optimized and stable sponsored ads structure. And if you would say so, then you will be kind of had the point where sellers have the feeling that they cannot optimize further within sponsored ads by like researching more keywords, optimizing the bids further and stuff like that. It will not generate you more than like 20% or more sales in that case. So then it makes sense to think about using the DSP to show the product to people that have not searched for it yet, that might not have an idea of that the product even exists and stuff like that. So in this case, the DSP can be very useful and valuable to show the product to a very like brand new audience. But the issue of DSP is incrementality. So if you're using DSP and use the display ads for Amazon, sometimes it's just cannibalization because you're showing the display ads and you do not really know if you are generating more top level sales. And if you do so, is it like seasonal or is it coming from DSP? And sellers do not really know once they are leveraging the Amazon DSP. And this is where the Amazon Marketing Cloud comes into play. Because with the Amazon Marketing Cloud, it is possible to combine sponsored ads and DSP in the reporting. The Amazon Marketing Cloud can show a path to conversion. So sellers can see, oh, my clients are looking into a DSP campaign, then coming back over sponsored brand campaign, and then converting via sponsored product ad campaign. We can use a custom attribution model for the path to conversion to re-attribute the sales, which again shows a different picture. So in my opinion, it only makes sense to use the DSP when you also have the Amazon Marketing Cloud.
Okay, very good explanation. Thank you for that. Cool. Well, Andreas, it was very interesting to chat with you and learn from you today. Before we go, can you once more highlight what's the website address of Biddix and what's the best way to reach out to you if anyone watching us now would be interested in learning more of your solution?
Yeah, absolutely. So the homepage is just biddx.io. We do offer a 14 days free trial. That's pretty straightforward. You can just go ahead and register and then connect the Amazon account, and then you can just try it out 14 days for free. On the bottom of the page, you will see some contact information, and you can also, of course, reach out to me or anyone here if you have any questions regarding the tool or, of course, also the presentation today.
Yeah, exactly. I also wanted to encourage if you have more additional questions about the 5 challenges and tips Andreas shared with us today, then definitely leave a comment under the video, because then we can ask you to come back to the video and answer those additional questions as well. So thanks again, and good luck with running all of the Amazon ads and being successful in it, and hopefully see you soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
I hope this video will help you to solve your Amazon PPC challenges. If you found this content helpful, hit the like and subscribe buttons below this video, and we invite you to watch more content we create. And now I recommend you to watch this video where Ritu Java explains what Amazon PPC dayparting is and how it can help you manage your advertising spend more effectively.